Hello, it's time for episode 4 of Urban Gothic Series 2, Eater. You might find yourself recognizing this episode as it goes along, so I'll tell you now so it doesn't bother you later. This was remade as an episode of Fear itself. I can certainly understand why. With an episode this poor to mediocre, I can see why a show that poor to mediocre would jump at the chance to adapt it. We opened with Otho from Beetlejuice's fat, effeminate nephew sitting in his candlelit, Dahmer-decorated room eating human flesh while listening to Swan Lake. Why Swan Lake? Because ever since Dracula in the 1930s, it's been the official theme music for consuming humans. Luckily, the police in this episode have already proven themselves to be smarter than the police in almost every other episode of this show, because they break in and are able to arrest him without being killed or falling over their own shadows.
Ah, gentlemen, I would avail myself of the finger bowl, but as you can see, I appear to have eaten them all.
Gentlemen, acting jobs only come along every so often, so excuse me if I take advantage and chew the scenery. I might not get a chance to eat this well for quite some time. The rest of the episode takes place in a police station, and on the way back, the competent police officers have either been replaced by morons or suffered catastrophic brain injuries. Oh, and there's lots of eating because it's the title. And a theme. So the police are guarding the cannibal, and when I said the police are guarding the cannibal, I meant they stuck him in a cell and ignore him unless the script calls for it. Why do I get the terrible feeling that this episode's story could probably have been avoided if the police just end up doing their fucking jobs?
I was just saying we've got an eater.
Eater? What's an eater?
Sounds like something to do with parking tickets. You've just brought in a guy found with 15 to 20 bodies. He was found eating them. Please don't tell me that one of the 6 cops in this fucking place doesn't know anything about the guy he's supposed to be guarding. And he can't even work out what the word eater could possibly mean. Oh, and any ideas as to why they sent more cops after this guy than they sent after the werewolf in Series 1 should probably be sent to the writer, who will use them to line his litter box.
Yeah, but here's the weird thing. His wardrobe was filled up with clothes. Women's dresses, suits, jeans, even kids' clothes, all different sizes.
What, victim stuff?
Well, that's the thing.
Don't start again on that voodoo shit.
What voodoo shit?
John was talking to him earlier, or so he says.
I was talking to him. Couldn't get him to shut up.
Armella told him they were disguises.
How could he use women in kids' clothes for disguises?
Glad to see they're going to take the Dana Carvey theory seriously. I hear he's a master of disguise, and after that movie I assume there's no limits to his evil. So, over this conversation we get the following pieces of information. The eater was visited by one of the cops, the same cop who was eating in the previous scene. The criminal claims he can use any clothes as a disguise, and the eater is apparently under a blanket in his cell, so no one can get a good look at him without entering the cell. Welcome to John Carpenter's The Thing, British Police Station Edition, now with added cannibalism. So, seeing as it's already about halfway in, one of the cops works out that the eater has escaped and has already killed 2 or 3 of his fellow police officers. How he managed it so quickly and didn't just make a living as a champion speed eater is fucking beyond me. But answers are a lot less interesting than paid-by-numbers paranoid thriller crap, so the power's been cut and they have a shape-changing cannibal on the loose. Cat and mouse, paranoia, intrigue, boring as shit, and finally the main guy enlists the only guy he's sure hasn't been eaten and replaced, who, as we're only a few minutes from the end, will eventually be revealed as the eater in a twist ending. Ho-hum, in other news, Franco Anguilla is the bad guy in the 9th gate. So the main guy and the obvious baddie go through the station, coming across the dead bodies of the other cops in theatrical positions that really should have been found much more fucking quickly in any self-respecting police station not being run by fucking morons. And finally the guy, who's obviously the eater, is revealed to be the eater. I am fucking shocked. In fact, excuse me for a moment. Yes, that's better. I needed to sit down. So the eater kills and eats the main guy, and suddenly it's morning and the police station's buzzing with activity. And no one has even fucking noticed the disappearance of the other cops. And finally, they break the 4th wall.
I'm always hungry.
Before I go into the episode as a whole, just a quick question. Given how easily and quickly he escaped, why did he let himself get captured at all? Did he just fancy being yelled at by policemen in a cold room for a couple of hours? This episode is dull, stupid, pointless, and dull. Out of all the episodes someone chose to remake, why the fuck was it this one? You know what would have been a better story to redo? Practically any of them! This episode is like a black hole. Nothing interesting can exist around it without having any entertainment value within it being destroyed. Unfortunately, that includes this review. I'm sorry for wasting your time.